50 years since the collapse. 10 years since the last Great War. 5 since the pirates caught him. 4 since he had been trapped in the enclosure built for him. 1 week since they had come into it last. 7 days, 15 hours, 25 minutes and 13, 14, 15 seconds since he has felt the touch of another living being. Granted, that touch was mostly him beating him black and blue, but there was one that used to come more often, who had gone out of his way to get him actual food. That one always treated him kindly. Treated him like a pet, maybe, but kindly all the same. He's seen them walk past, all hunched up and bug-like as they are. It's not hard to miss them either. In a sea of low-walking reptilians, a 10-foot-tall hexapodal bug creature does tend to stick out a little. Even then, that one has a large chunk of one mandible missing. It must have hurt something fierce, but he can't feel pity, because even a kind captor is a captor all the same. This isn't some Stockholm shit. He does miss food, though. They've been busy lately, all the rotten bastards. Something happening outside. The ship keeps rocking and shuddering, making weird sounds that no starfaring vessel has any right to. The aliens may as well be stampeding, overhead and out front like it's hailstorms on a tin roof. Makes his head pound. He's been without food for so long, he can't stand the noise, it just makes it all worse. An exceptionally loud bang, an exceptionally large shudder, right by his left ear. He looks up. The door to the holding cell has developed a dent. He doesn't have the energy to stand anymore, so like an animal he crawls to the door. If whatever was behind it wanted him dead, then so fucking be it. He's sick of this. He wants to go home, whether to Earth or back to Eden Colony, whichever came faster. He sits, and he stares, like a dog waiting for its owner to come back. Another bang, and the door gets ripped off its hinges. Giant bug, missing mandible. What the fuck was that? He files away that little piece of information away somewhere, for a reason he no longer recalls having. Obviously they don't share a language, and the bug didn't think he was sentient, but when they locked eyes, he could have sworn they were asking him something. It takes a certain amount of drive and conviction to do something this reckless. He might be a little delirious. They reach for him, lunge at him with 2 of the arms not being used for either holding the door or standing upright. He immediately shoots backwards, shaking legs now straining with the weight of his weak body stood upright. Vertigo swarms the corners of his vision, but he fights it off with a snarl. He's never felt so alive, with 1 foot over the threshold of death's door. Oh, hello, will to live. Nice to see you again. The bug stares at where he should have been, where he was, and now where he is. Faintly, he registers a click in the one mandible that registers irritation. He takes pride in being the cause of many of those sounds. Serves him right. Another click. Disappointment. He's familiar with this one too. He bares his teeth, like the wild animal they must think he is. Like he feels he has to be, and he shouts all his rage and anger at them, knowing it falls unheard. Fuck it. The catharsis was nice. It doesn't do much in the way of intimidation, and it fucking hurt his throat, but he could shout, and he could gnash his teeth, and he was going to put up a fight if they try again. Why haven't they tried again? He looks to the bug, and watches as it steps aside, allows him out. And out he very well goes, balling up every scrap of his adrenaline and purpose, just to throw it into forward motion. He hasn't got a fucking clue where he's going. But he is going forward, and that's good enough. He is also being followed. By the bug. The bug is following him, but not trying to catch him. He learns this after 3 consecutive right turns, and a pause in a vacant hallway. They stop behind him just a hair's breadth further than their considerable arm's reach. It dawns on him that they're giving him space. Upon turning, and a visual inspection, they are also going out of their way to look non-threatening. Arms down, chest cavity vulnerable and clear, body low. They're eye to eye now, rather than the almost 4-foot height difference. It's a damn good thing he stopped being scared of bugs, because that would probably still scare him shitless. He thinks he appreciates the sentiment though. "What do you want?" he hisses, taking a step toward the bug for each word. They take an equal amount of space back each time. He's too fucking tired for this. He should be running, hiding, trying to find out where to go. But there's this alien staring at him with what can only be described as remorse, which is stupid. Don't put human emotions on a being you don't know the motivations of. Don't try to find the good in those that had you trapped. The bug doesn't leave, doesn't get closer, and doesn't try to attack. He narrows his eyes, scrutinizing them, but doesn't get much time to do anything else when the snap boom of a discharging plasma gun echoes through the halls, off the walls, and directly into his still incredibly weak skull. It was up for debate where the actual plasma bolt had gone before that point, but he was too busy being curled up in pain on the floor right now. Another discharge, another thunderclap against his eardrums, a pained chattering noise, a rumble in the floor, 4 limbs wrapping around him, and his body being wrenched upward. He reaches up to try and push away and get himself free, but God, his arms would not move. He couldn't even get his vision to cooperate. He ends up just kind of half shoving until a weak hand finds the mystery alien's face and settles over a half-broken mandible. A little gross. They don't even try to bite the very much in-range arm. Self-restraint. He tries to open his eyes further, try to actually see where he's being taken or what's happening, but barely anything came across. At the very least, the alien was keeping him alive and appeared not to be taking him back to the enclosure. 2 wins. He'll take it. He probably should have made an effort to learn some parts of their weird fucked up bug language. Might have made things easier, but what good would it have done in any other situation besides his absolute batshit stupid present moment? He tries anyway. He starts with a sound similar to the one used whenever they had walked into his room. Maybe it was like a hello. It also sort of sounded like Morse if he tried really hard. 4 short clicks, pause, 2 chirps. Hell, that was even the same pattern, discounting the tonal difference. The alien looks down abruptly, careening round a corner. Curse those compact eyes, but they do help better than his right now. Actually, considering their near 360-degree vision, why would they look down at all? A problem for later him. Oh, they've stopped. He turns his head, trying to force his eyes to focus in on the surrounding area. It looks like a ship hangar. Lines of fucked up alien pods, gigantic in their scale. The alien hasn't stopped staring at him, even after resuming movement. He feels, more than sees, the moment when a blaster bolt shoots over the alien's shoulder. The delayed snap boom of something heavier firing. Missing. It doesn't miss the second time, but doesn't hit him. The alien had turned their back to the firing, now running to the nearest ship. Even with those eyes, they wouldn't be able to dodge what was essentially light-based buckshot. The alien doesn't appear to react, somehow, but he's not an idiot. He knows this isn't something they could just walk off. He feels it in the tightening grip on his body, the slight sway in each step. Yet still the alien moves. It's sort of admirable. With a few more staggered steps, they are at the door of the shuttle. The alien shoves it open with the same degree of urgency as before with the enclosure, and dumps him rather unceremoniously on the floor to the side. He doesn't take it personally. His head won't stop spinning. His vision won't focus. He stares, just barely comprehending, as the alien that had broken him free endures 4 more blows from the standard blaster. One of the 4 primary arms hangs useless. His twin on the other side looks about ready to fall off at the shoulder. All that injury, all that pain, and for what? To steal him? To sell him on to someone else? None of this makes sense. He sighs out a frustrated breath, and the alien turns to stare at him again. A blaster bolt fires, aligned with an apparent blind spot. It hits him square in the side, between the primary and secondary arms. That could be lethal. Why does he care? Why does that make his throat tighten? This shouldn't be affecting him so much. The door to the ship finally locks with a resounding thud, drawn closed by a barely functional arm, and the shielding engages automatically. Relative safety. Fucking hell. The alien moves sluggishly to what must be the cockpit, based on the seats and steering analogs, and the switches and lights and stuff. This is a surprisingly obvious thing for him to barely register. He's too tired for this shit. He drags himself to his feet, grappling with the wall all the way to said cockpit, aiming roughly for the unoccupied seat. Mission accomplished. Sit down. A+. New mission. What the entire actual legitimate fuck do they do now? The ship appears to spool up, launching forward hard enough that his head slams far too hard into the seat headrest. Ouch. Well, at least they're getting the fuck out of there nice and quick. Unnecessary suffering. The alien's staring at him again. Head turned all the way, tilted in something akin to curiosity. He howls out an almost delirious laugh, properly over all the adrenaline and coming down into his body, into his aches and pains, into the hunger that claws at his body with the fear and dissociation, ebbing away millimetre by millimetre. They break off eye contact almost in tandem, the alien turning to tap away at some panel of buttons, dials and screens, and him to turn and stare forward at the expanse of space, the stars he hadn't seen in years. No matter what comes next, fuck it, he's free. He has a feeling now that he's going to have to figure out how this alien feels about him, what they have planned for him. He has a feeling that both of those answers are a hell of a lot less malicious than what he had suspected before. That's for later him to figure out. For now, he'll just work on not dying and making sure this fucked up giant bug that was entirely too self-sacrificing and too human for their own good also did not die. Sounds like a plan. Let's see how that plays out.